Everyone, can you hear us? Thumbs up if you can see our slide.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, we are happy to present to you the final Python project with OpenAPI. Our fantastic team consists of Anthony, Christian, Margie, Marianne, Oraib, and Ziba. And we will take you on a journey through the ins and outs of the Python project, featuring the incredible world of OpenAI. This is aimed to make things easy for users by creating a simple website. People would submit their resume in job description on their very friendly user web. Behind the scenes, a special computer program, AWS Lambda, will work like a middleman. It will take information from the user, taking this using Python computer language, and connect to another program called openai chatgpt, and got back a quick response. This main question, is this resume good for this job? The project's strength is in keeping this simple for users and ensuring a straightforward and smooth experience for everybody. And now Anthony will continue with our presentation.
Thank you, Marianne. Now I will discuss some of the technology used to complete this project. So the three main core technology that form the backbone of this project is Python, and of course we had to use the JSON library built in Python, as well as the OpenAI library. But to further spice up this project and make it more presentable, we had to use some other forms of technology, which include we had to use SRC directory, which is where our source code would be stored. We had to use an index HTML file. This usually represents the home page of a website or web application. We also had to use CSS file, which typically used to define custom CSS styles, custom CSS files for input elements in a web page. Furthermore, we use Tailwind CSS. This is also a form of technology used to pretty much customize, to further customize a web page. It is a utility-first CSS framework that provides a set of pre-designed utility classes to quickly style HTML elements. Now, built into the Tailwind CSS, built into the Tailwind CSS is a Tailwind UI, which is a collection of professionally designed, fully responsive user interface components. We also use Alpine.js, which is pretty much a JavaScript framework to enhance the interactivity and functionality of our website. We also use a couple of AWS web services, which include API Gateway. API Gateway is used by most developers to create, publish, maintain, monitor, secure APIs at any scale. We also use the Lambda function in this case, which is usually used to execute code, through triggers such as HTTP requests, database events, file uploads, etc. And lastly, one of the last pieces of technology we use for this is another Amazon Web Service called S3. It's simply an Amazon Web Service used for storage. Thank you. Please, next slide, please. So one of the first steps was in this project was to create pretty much our website page locally. Follow a few simple steps, but complicated steps as well. First thing is to create an SRC directory. This is really done in a command prompt in your computer. So inside the SRC directory, we also had to create a blank index HTML file as well as an input SS file. From there, we had to install Tailwind CSS, and in Tailwind CSS, we also had to configure the Tailwind CSS to fit the needs of our project. Moving on from that, we had to link the output CSS file to the index HTML file. To the index HTML file, and from there we had to start Tailwind CSS to watch for any changes in our project files to review the output CSS file accordingly. And now I'll pass it on to Marianne to talk in further details in the technology used Lambda and API Gateway.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. So what is API Gateway? API Gateway is like a welcoming doorman for our computer programs. It's a helpful service on AWS that lets computer developers easily create and secure the path for their programs to talk to each other. It is like the door that opens the way for your programs to access important stuff like data or business tools. So the next step is make the API gateway is not too tricky. Imagine going to a specific control panel, AWS console, where you tell it you want to build a new entryway, REST API. You name this entryway, and it says it should be like a main road to your program to travel. In our case, in any case, it's a regional endpoint. Once we made the entryway, you want to make sure it is ready for visitors. So we create a stage like a red carpet for special events, and we give it name like a prod or task or system. This is where we decide where and how to release our entryway to the world. It's like saying, okay, everyone, the door is open, and here how it's gonna to work. Now that our entryway is all set up, we need to create places for programs to visit. We make a special spot, compare resume, where program can go, and we make sure it's friendly to all kinds of programs. We also add a way for programs to leave messages, post method named Hello World. To make sure programs from different places can use our entryway, we enable something called CORS, cross-origin resource sharing, on a specific spot. Then we officially open the doors and let the programs in by deploying the entryway to the big stage production. Our event gets a special link, invoke URL that our programs can use when they want to come in and chat. In short, Amazon API Gateway helps you create a friendly and secure entrance for your computer program, making it easier for them to communicate and share information. And now let's talk about Lambda function. This is our main event because we use Python there a lot. The website wants to check if a resume is good fit for a job. People send their info and it kicks off a request to special door API endpoint managed by AWS API Gateway. Behind that door is a helpful computer program Lambda function written in Python. AWS Lambda is like a smart helper that does heavy lifting, talking to OpenAI to figure it out how well its resume matches a job. It does this by having a chat with ChatGPT through the internet, making things quick and easy. For Lambda to do its job, it needs some special tools. We made a package of these tools, Lambda layers, that includes the OpenAI. We also give Lambda a secret key, API key, to talk to OpenAI without any problems. We taught Lambda to understand when we set info in about a resume job. We did this by updating its instruction. So it tells OpenAI ChatGPT to act like a friendly recruiter, checking both resume and job details. When we send info to Lambda, it uses a special language to understand it. It's like telling Lambda, hey, look, this is the resume on this part, and this is the job info on this part. This way, Lambda knows exactly what to send and what it needs to be done. And lastly, after Lambda talks to OpenAI ChatGPT, it takes back some information. To understand this information, Lambda looks at a specific part, like reading the first message in a chat. This way, Lambda can share what OpenAI said to us and what needs to be sent to the user. So this is it about Lambda function, and let me pass it on to Orai to continue with this presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Marianne. After you're done with the API endpoint was set up, it's time to update the web page to make a call to the endpoint and display the responses. There are many ways to handle API calls with JavaScript, such as Vanilla, Vue, React, some of them. But for us, we're gonna use.
But let me continue until she gets back. So let's talk about now adding Alpine.js and fetching a response. In simple terms, we're using Alpine.js, a tool for making interface element on websites. And along with JavaScript, fetch function get a response from API. We have different types of variables. One that decides if we should show the API response, two for storing information from a form, and another for holding the actual API response. The get data function is like a messenger. It uses fetch to ask API for information and waits patiently to reply. Once the reply arrives, it stores it in a variable and makes sure to display it on the website. This function plays a key role on how the web page works, managing the back and forth communication with the API to get and show the data we need. And last but not least step is to deploy the website. After finishing all the work on the website, the last step was to share it with everyone on the internet. To do this, we chose to use S3 bucket, which is like a secure storage space in Amazon Web Services. We put all the website files there and made sure they could be seen by anyone. It is a bit like setting up a display for our website in a specific storage space. We adjusted some settings to make sure everything works, like letting people read the files and telling the storage space that it's going to be to show our website to the world. That way, when people go to a website, they we created. Ziba will continue our project presentation next.
Thank you, Orieb. The goal of the project was to use Python code for OpenAI to access how well a resume matches a job description and for get manual labor, so that because it takes hours to compare any resume to dozens of job descriptions. Now, a user-friendly web page was created connecting to the AWS Lambda function that hands requests and gets responses from OpenAI. Despite that, the project complexity with various AWS services, our team managed to build a working website. Users can input data. The site talks to OpenAI, gets a response, and shows it on the web page. The project was a great learning experience for us, and it dived us into the world of AWS services. Now, working with various AWS services to set up our website, it felt like assembling a puzzle, a bit challenging, but ultimately we successfully crafted a fully functional process. The journey had its share of twists, turns, and learning curves, resulting in a fantastic adventure that deepened our understanding of Python. Our project embarked on a learning curve, and the initial phase wasn't entirely smooth sailing, delving into concepts like Alpine.js, Tailwind, components for page form styling, presented moments that required a bit of head scratching. Now, navigating through technical terms such as chorus, lambda layers, and API gateways stages posted some challenges. It took some extra effort for exploration to fully grasp these concepts. Whenever we encountered roadblocks, our go-to solution was the thrifty internet. So we scrolled the web for answers, high and low, consulting, helpful documentation to untangle the knots we faced during the project. Now, our team availability did have a few gaps in the knowledge base through our hurdles our way. To overcome these challenges, we had delved into online resources and documentation enhancing our understanding and honing our collective problem-solving skills. It is now time for a live demo. I'm going to hand it off to Christian. Please take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we're going to show our website here on Firefox. If you navigate to compare.cdchat.com, we have our website here, and this is what it looks like. It's just a simple form with a text area to put your resume and job descriptions. I have it pre-populated here with a resume that I had years ago. It had to do with restaurants and resources. The job description is a more technical one, so we should expect OpenAI to return a response that it's not a fit. All right, so we just hit the process button. It's loading, making a call to a Lambda function, and it returns this here. Does not align well with the job description, and it goes along and says the differences that exist for this job, resume and description. For added a little bit of functionality here, we added a button here that you can copy the reply from the OpenAI API. And we just close it out. And this is the website. Additionally, it is fully mobile. And finally, I'd like to share the Python here. And here's our Python code. This is the Lambda handler, which comes with all Lambda functions. It receives an event. In our case, it is a fetch API request, post request with a JSON object that has a resume and job description from the form. Receives that, and gets the OpenAI key that we created, started the client, and then we add a little bit of exception handling here to try the requests first to get it to work. And here's how we get the response from OpenAI and then return it back to the user. If they get an error, they would get the error message in the website. If anyone has any questions or interest in finding out exactly how I did it or we did it, I created a web post here, a blog post, so it's very detailed, and you can certainly look at that if you are interested.
So first of all, I give a big round. This is really good. So good job for the English mark. A couple of questions. Looks like you had fun. Seems like you did a lot of technology together. Now the question is, when you did Lambda, right? How did you test your application? Because you are deploying in the cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you walk us through like your challenge? Like you locally work and then deploy in the cloud. And what you learned part of this process?
The first step was to get any response to come out, right? So we just did the hello Lambda, the standard one, tested it with Postman first, right? Then once we were able to make a call directly, invoke the Lambda function, we built the API gateway, and then we started trying to hit it through that and through Postman. And then after that was working, we created the JavaScript to make the async call to the API. There's some issues with that with cores, which was a bit vexing, but that was solved through the API gateway by adding headers coming back from the response. And then after that, it all works. So then we built the Python code locally and could get the OpenAI. It was just a matter of transferring it and making sure that you get the API key and things like that.
Excellent. So one more question, like why Lambda? Because you have so many options, right? What was the specific reason did you choose Lambda?
Well, I thought that it was cheap, right? And it was quick and relatively easy as compared to building sort of like a Flask implementation that would have required a web server and like a little bit. We really wanted to have it live, right? We didn't want to have it locally on our machines. And I thought that was a great way. Plus, it's really flexible. It was easy to add one, tear it down, get rid of it, build a new one. And once the API gateway was there, it was nice being able to add process simply, get, post, all those things worked really well. So there was like a couple little gotchas, but overall it was pretty easy to do.
Oreb, I'm not sure you are able to hear us because we could not able to hear. Can you hear us, Oreb?
Yeah, I hear you, and I was talking, and suddenly Marianne took everything. But thank you, Marianne. But I was talking anyway.
Okay, so Oreb, like I know we were not able to hear you, but what was the special learning part in this project for you?
For me, like it's the application, how you get to respond from the AWS. Sorry, how to get the response from the ChatGPT.
Very good. Ziba, question for you. When you did this exercise overall, you presented challenge and also how you and your team member overcome or discuss about problem solving approach.
Yeah, so we actually had meetings at night. So just to kind of check on everyone to see where we are. Christian helped quite a bit because of lack of knowledge on my end and other team members as well. But we were able to, like I said, we were able to kind of search the internet and kind of find more information and kind of work together on it.
Marine, question for you. Like while you were doing this work with your team, how did you use your QA skills and how did you verify that end-to-end is working? You mentioned very clearly, safely and securely. So how did you come up with that?
Actually, it started with Christian building a local Lambda. That's where we started testing. So we did that on Lambda itself. Then we went to Postman and we were just sitting side by side. So it's very easy to start testing early and do it, in iterations. So every step, where that we clear some of the grounds and then we can move on. And then if we need, we can do the retrospective and, catch anything that we missed. Then it was not with course, Christian did, so much research, so much trial and error. So after that, again, we got did step by step in terms of from local Lambda to Lambda that's talked to AWS API Gateway. That was interesting transition, but then it was easier because as soon as that ChatGPT was trained to get perspective as a recruiter, then we start getting some of the meaningful results.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I give a big round. We have limited time, so very good job. You guys rate the bar.
Beauty.
Hello,
Yeah.
everyone.
And they.
Hello, guys.
Thank you. And me, of course. And we're about to show you all our presentation, right? So the introduction, once again, we all hear this new thing that's out right now. So what is ChatGPT? What is this big thing going out in this big trend? Well, ChatGPT was founded in November 30th, 2022. And it's a Python programming language. And it's a natural language processing chat box within AI, specifically that helps people with their tasks and people be able to communicate, and which we'll all see later on this PowerPoint of what we're able to do in a few minutes. We have a special guest for you. Just stick around and you'll see. So we'll be unveiling the capabilities of ChatGPT by OpenAI. Welcome to the world of ChatGPT, where conversations are revolutionized with AI-powered chatbots discover how this technology is transforming communication and customer engagement. And I like this picture. The reason why we picked this in the background is I have a background in biology, concentration, and cellular molecular structure. And one of the biggest things, what I noticed from studying ahead for the Python cert, is that the Python programming language is very astronomical and is able to do a lot of mathematical and scientific calculations. And that's the power that we have right now. So understanding ChatGPT, that's one of the biggest things we need to do is understand what this machine is. So ChatGPT is an advanced language model designed to generate human-like text responses. It uses deep learning to understand and respond to natural language input. Oh, and that's our special friend there named Jenny, the GPT application. You're all about to see shortly the power of GPT. So during this project, we know we have to have things to make sure a program works properly. And we had dependencies we used, which was building an interactive chatbot application using Python, Flask, OpenAI, and HTML, which a lot of us have gathered these skills of being in this class. So the next thing we need now is to go over the steps we took to accomplish our goals. And we have our special team leader, Viral, that's going to go ahead and give you all a demonstration. Viral, when you can, go ahead and lead the way, boss.
All right, thank you, Dad.
Thank you.
Hello, guys. I will now present you our application, and we have given a name Jenny. That's my daughter's name. And you're about to see it now. Let me share my screen.
I stopped mine.
Here you go. Are you guys able to see it?
Yes, gotcha.
All right. So first of all, let me start with my GitHub page where we have kept our application. So it's one of the version control system. And in my application, it's a Python base. And I have used a Docker, technology Docker, to make it containerized. And so anybody can, run it locally and also over the internet. And I will walk you through the code, which is right here. So mainly, we have used a Flask and OpenAI, and there is a config file which has my API key in it. So I'm calling the config file, and from that, open key. And the app name is Flask, right? And also, this is a message, and I'm, educating ChatGPT that you are an expert that specializes in solving any kind of problem. And right here, I have a definition, created the definition, that take the response and put it into the message, and conversation. It's an interactive board. And also I've used GPT 3.5 Turbo for this application, which is a lot cheaper than GPT-4. Right? It works good too. And here is a chat reply equal to response. We'll take the response and put it into the chat, so interactive. And yeah, right here, this is an app route, and which is taking taking it to the chatbot HTML, which is my HTML page, which I will show you in a little bit. And here is the get API, and also there is that's a get API and also a post API I'm using. And here I'm running it on the internet, host equal to 000 means it's on internet, and also port number I'm using is 5001 by default. It's 5001. If you want, you can change it. And also, if you don't want to, put it on the internet, you can just take this thing off, and you'll be good. And also, I'm running it in a debug mode. So now, let me show the page. Let me start the application. Okay. So before that, let me show you I have in a C drive. I have a folder called a GPT app. In that, I have my application. So there is a configuration file which has my API key in it, and there is a application code for the application. And in the template file, there is a chatbot HTML page. In that, I have used CSS and Java. And let me run the application so you guys can see it. Okay, so right now, we have a folder called GPTF, right? Okay. All right, it's up and running, so you can access it all over the internet and also on my local host. And it is in debug mode, as you can see. So first I'll show the local host, and yep, there. Now sometimes it's slow, kind of slow because of the ChatGPT. They are having some issue right now. But I believe it'll be fixed soon.
Viral, you need to press enter because it's a lock mode right now. Press enter in a black screen because your cursor is right now locking. Click here and enter. You need to enter because right now you see the white square that's called lock.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I got that. But yeah, there's a screen you can see, and you can ask anything. Also start with hello, and you'll get a response back. And as you can see on my right side, in my command prompt, you are seeing that your application is being called, and what is the response, and 200 is the code, success. So you can ask anything like write me a Python code. Oops. That's kind of slow. I don't know what's going on with the ChatGPT, but it is slow. While doing that, let me open the internet version. Please quiet. Right there. So, what to cook tonight? There you go. I can help you with suggestion for what to cook tonight. Are you looking for something quick and easy, or do you have any specific ingredients or dietary preference? So yeah, I mean you can have like interactive chat with the chatbot. You can ask anything, like you can ask to solve your math problems or anything. So I mean, if you guys want to try, I can put the link in the chat, and if you guys can go ahead and try it. Where do I put it? Yeah, basically, that's my IP address, and it's running on port 5001. Because I don't see right now where I can, the chat window.
Great, guys. We have limited time, so we'll start asking a question if you guys are okay.
Yeah, and I also, forgot to tell you guys to Dockerize. So, I have a container, in Docker Hub, which you can see right here.
which is a 188 MB. You guys can use it, over the internet or, Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So our project is about the resume scanner project by me and Sarjan. Next slide, please, Sarjan. So how does the resume scanner work? So resume scanner basically scan the resume electronic, and it extracts the key information like a work experience, skill, education using NLP. Resume, and based on that, it's matched with the predefined job description like a keywords and everything. And that base, it give up like a score. The higher ranking get higher score. Next slide, please, Sarjan. So this is our flow chart. So user usually like a Sarjan did the command prompt install like a Flask or report lab, and we worked on a HTML file, and HTML file we did some page designing, and we insert the predefined job description and keywords. Then we worked on a page, Python file. Sorry, I'm getting. And in a Python file, we bring the chatgpt, and chatgpt scan the resume and give it to score as a PDF file. Next slide, please, Sarjan. Sarjan.
Yep.
So this is our flow. Yeah, sorry. So this is our flow chart. First create the Flask instance, and then we get the openai, and then in openai we get the key openai key, and we put the ChatGPT 3.5 model, and in that scans our resume and give us a PDF file. That's return the PDF file. This is the demo of the PDF file. Next slide, please, Arjun. Sarjan?
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, no, still I can see the same slide. Yeah, I can see the slide.
Okay,
so this is our the command prompt code, and next slide, please, Sarjan. Sarjan?
Yeah. There's some delay, so you're gonna get it.
Oh, okay, sure. Sorry. So by our applicant can analyze their resume and get the score, and based on scared, applicant also improve their resume and get improve their chances to get higher. Next slide, Sarjan, please. Sarjan?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the tools and programming language we use for the project, like Python, HTML, ChatGPT, command prompt, Draw.io, and just snipping tool, and PowerPoint, and the Edge, Microsoft Edge. Next slide, please. So thank you for the joining, and now Sarjan will do the live demo. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Sorry for the technical issues, guys. Hi, my name is Sargon, and I'll start showing you guys. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
So basically, this is our application right here, the structure of our folders. Unfortunately, I couldn't deploy this on the internet, so I'm running this locally. just let me explain the real quick about the structure. We have our HTML page right here, which represent the index.html if we would have deployed it. And we have the main Python script right here. I have a folder. We just kept all the pictures, nicely sorted out in one folder. And assets, I have some samples of some resumes that we need to for the demonstration. And among other things, we have we did construct a batch file here to make it easier to run everything rather than running each command line separately. So I'm gonna start the batch file. As you can see in the background, the command line interface has started and is waiting for our input. Our main web page, this one here, which represents the page that the user gonna use to input and forward all the necessary information. I want to just explain something here real quick. As you can see, guys, these are this here represents the job postings. Okay, first of all, we are emulating here that a recruiter is the user. Again, I repeat, a recruiter is the user right here. So in this case, what we did is that was a non-dynamic solution. Instead of fetching all this information from a database, we decided to go really easy and emulate this without a database. So what we did, we included all the information that it needs to be populated in these two fields here. So basically, like if the recruiter is gonna choose a job, post a job on their server, let's say business analyst is retrieving this information from the database, it will automatically, and in our case, for the simplicity's sake, these two fields will be populated automatically as if he's pulling this information from a database. So he's trying to load in this job with these required skills, right? And then he needs to just, again, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna copy paste one of those examples that we have in our folder here in asset. So I'm just gonna choose a sample here. I'm just gonna copy it and paste it. And then the next step is just click the submit and all the magic will be done in the background. So by clicking on submit, as you can see here, sending out the request and a PDF file is created. Now, the recruiter is gonna review this document. And again, it is gonna show what was the job description, what were the skills needed, and the detail of the resume that we just copied in, and then with a detailed response to all this request. So as you can see here, what we did is that we made sure through the prompt engineering to tell ChatGPT, I want this structure to be outputted in your response. First, name the applicant, and then in the second section here, I want you to analyze the compatibility. Where are the good points that you saw compatible between that job description and the skills required? Third section, I want you to tell me what are the concerns, what are the non-compatibilities, issues in this analysis. So, as you can see, the answers are here. And in the last section, we are telling ChatGPT to give me an analysis of that whole qualification. What is matching what, and give me at the end a brief description about if the applicant is qualified or not. As you can see here, unfortunately, Rona Jackson is not qualified based on these deficiencies in the analysis. So that's one example of how the ChatGPT will respond. I mean, let us do real quick another example. As you can see, I mean, when the recruiter choose another job opening that they have on their server, these two fields will be populated. We just need to copy paste a sample of the resumes. Do the same thing, submit, and another, as you can see, another PDF file has been created. The same thing, like it will retrieve what have been submitted, and then will give analysis. As you can see, the prompt, the answer, the response is really consistent due to the prompt that we created, and we followed some techniques and some tactics that is suggested by ChatGPT API. And as you can see, there's that consistency of name. Then the second section, compatibility, where is the concerns, and then it will give you some details, and all the way at the end, it will give you the final result saying, okay, this applicant is somewhat qualified. So that basically is the format of the output that we are getting. And let me just jump in real quick into the script and how did we structure everything together. So basically, this is the script. Can you guys see? Can you guys see it? Let me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My apologies. I need to make it a little bit bigger, but the main section here is for all the libraries need to be imported. Before that, there's some requirements here. We needed to import to install Flask and the report labs, and then we imported some iOS, openai, and OS. These are libraries that we needed to complete our script here. Guys, don't look at my key, okay? API key, it's secret. So we start with the main definition here for our prompt, and we have after a long research and long challenge, we try to induce the try and the exceptions into the ChatGPT. I mean, these are some of the errors, most common errors that you get from ChatGPT if it's down, or if the API has been compromised, or if there is an error or service down or whatever. It will be automatically reflected to the user. And among these things among most important things that we did some research upon is trying to make the response more what's so-called deterministic. As we know all that ChatGPT has some what's so-called randomness in the answers that it gives away. So sometimes, I mean, every time if you send the same information, every time you will get a different answer. They are all good answers, but somewhat these randomness, it will create some discrepancies here and there. So I needed to really to have really more accurate responses from ChatGPT. So one of the two settings that were suggested is the temperature and the top _P. These are some settings in the API you need to set to get more accurate and more deterministic results. It means more consistent. So every time you run the same request, you will get almost the same response. And that's what we needed here, because we need to be accurate in analyzing and seeing if the applicant is qualified or not. So this part took care of all that. And then the actual and the main challenge was here, how to construct that prompt. And I have a copy of that prompt. Let me just fire up this document here. This is it's a copy of what we have in the script, but more readable section. I just put it all together here to make it easier to read and to understand. So these are all the variables that has been forwarded from the HTML page to the prompt, and then over here we are asking ChatGPT, start your response in a structured format with 4 numbered bullet points. First, name, state the name of the applicant, and then analyze the compatibility, and then analyze the concern, and then finally give me a qualification analysis of what you find, and then print out the final result of what of the findings are. So as you can see here, I built some kind of logic that I interpreted to ChatGPT. I said, if that analysis is between 80%, if it's above 80% matching in those keywords, print a word qualified. If it's between 7 to 75, say it is somewhat qualified. If it's less than 60%, just print not qualified. And indeed, ChatGPT was almost perfect in all those answers and all those attempts that we tried. There's something else I want to show you guys here.
Limited time, so let's jump into question answers.
Yeah.
Because I know others may be waiting. So first of all, good job. I think somehow we had a little challenge on latency. I'm not sure it's an internet issue or it's something else. But let me ask you one thing. When you design this project, I think it looks very interesting the way you have come up with the what do you call point systems. I like the optimization flag, right? Could you tell us, like, how did you find out those, that by having the temperature and having a top P?
Yes. Yeah. So I was mainly looking into that section of how we will call the API with a good prompt, because that's the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, the whole point of this is to analyze the resume and then compare it to the requirement skills. Now, when I was trying to create a prompt, I came against what's so-called prompt engineering, and then I went and did more research around that, and then ChatGPT it is recommending to use some techniques and some what's so-called tactics to enhance your prompt in order to get a very accurate. Well, you won't get 100% accurate, all the time, but one of those things were suggesting that you need to play around with the temperature parameter and then the top underscore p, which will give you more a good depending on the case scenario, it will give you more accurate answers, depending on what you're looking for.
Got it. So how did you and your team communicate and work together?
Well, let me start with this. One of the challenges that we have, as you can see, we have a manpower issue in our team. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with the rest of the members. They just quit on us. So we had some challenges. I mean, we were Jay and I, we were constantly doing Zoom meetings and exchanging ideas, and we were taking bit by bit on how to come over some solutions. So I mean, and combination with the Google research and we were looking always for some answers for the challenges that we were facing. But in general, we were meeting at least once every 2-3 days.
Perfect.
Give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen.
Yep.
So Vikram and I work on a really exciting project, resume builder for any person who wants to enter into the job search. So this resume builder allows you to choose between 3 templates, put your information in specific order, and then generate a resume. So if you can see, I have 3 types of templates. It's very hard to see what they are, but Vikram gave you this sample. So this is the template 1. And here's the template 2. And lastly, this is the template 3. I already input some information because I wanted to run, very fast and very smoothly. So I have a first name, a last name, an email, phone number, LinkedIn page, URL, then a professional summary, that I have the education here, the job experience with, several companies. Then I have the technical skills. It doesn't have to be technical skills. This builder, a resume builder, is open to anything. You will be a professional cook, you will just put information for a professional cook or a designer or a ballerina, whatever your goal is. Then I'll put here the project I worked in, and lastly, I can put certification and training. Then I click submit. It takes a little while to run. So you will see that it says the PDF requires some time. We appreciate your patience, and you will see a little running on a site. But I want to show you what we already built. So this is the resume based on template 1. And you can see how nicely, clear, and concise it stores the information. Everything you provided in a web page. This is the template 2. Again, information is right in your face, and it is very easy to access. And guess what? If you take this resume and your job description and put on one of your ChatGPT builders that you just finished with your final project, that resume will be really easy to read through ChatGPT and compare to your job description. And lastly, this is a sample of resume built for template 3. Again, it's very concise, it's very easy, and it's pleasing to the eyes. So I'm gonna go back to my building, okay? It looks like it's still running. It gives sometimes it depends on how fast is your internet connection and so on and so forth. But in the end, you will have, because I choose template 1, my resume will look something like this. Please direct your questions. Vikram will be happy to answer all the background, know-how he put into it.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you. Again, I'm not sure, Vikram, you're able to share screen or not. But the question I have is like, what is the main purpose? Why we designed this tool? What's the benefit?
It's mostly because, resume building takes like a lot of time. And plus, once you're getting all your descriptions and everything, everybody already gives it to ChatGPT to sound better and to also bypass that like system that hiring managers have, so they can either include you or exclude you. So why not just combine those two into one thing? Give pre-made templates, give all your information, and ChatGPT will give you a nice resume, and you could use it to apply to any job, I guess.
Okay, so next question, like what are the tools and technology did you guys use part of this project?
It was a couple packages. We used Streamlit mostly for like the form, and then from the form we take it, give it to ChatGPT, and then we have to we take an empty latex template that we personally made and enter in those ChatGPT values into the latex template, and then it makes it look nice, like how you can see it on the screen. Because latex has like a lot of resume formats and everything, and me personally, I think it would be the best way to go for a nice looking resume. So yeah.
Yes. That's the correct spelling. Question is in the room. Does this, when I write some information in a form with incorrect spelling, will it automatically correct the spelling?
I'd assume so. Yeah, I haven't tested that out particularly, but it should. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I've done some testing on it. So it corrects spelling. It actually corrects if you have duplicates, or when you copy and paste and you forgot that you already pasted. It's smart enough to remove the duplicate.
Very good. Any questions for this group?
Yes, I have a question. The team, the team was saying that they use Streamlit in conjunctions with ChatGPT. And what was the latex? What was the latex? Is that you mentioned? Was that a technology or some form of templates maker? Or I didn't get that.
So latex is like a little document maker. It's basically like, think about Microsoft Word, except you use code, pretty much simplified form of that.
Oh, so okay. So is it Python? Is it Python based, or is it something standalone?
It's something standalone. It's totally different.
Okay.
It's its own unique language.
All right.
Just like
Thank
Sargon, like you are using JSON, similar. It's a kind of grammar. That's why they call latex. It's a grammar, so you can specify like how you want, and it's completely independent. It has no technology specific, but it helps you to create a nice document. So challenge-wise, like what you guys experienced, like what are the things you think ChatGPT was giving a hard time?
I think it was a compatibility between Vikram's Mac computer and my Windows OS. That was one of the challenges.
Vikram, what are the challenges you experience?
On the coding side, sometimes you had to take care of a few symbols, and most of the time you also had to take into account the response that ChatGPT would give you, because you have to be like super specific with it. So that was also another problem. And sometimes connecting certain parts from Streamlit to the actual program itself was a little bit challenging, but the main challenge, as Marianne said, was actually the OS, So me personally, I use Mac and I installed a different version than Marianne did because, you know, two separate OSs, and it caused a little bit more errors on Marianne's version because it was two different applications for Windows and Mac. So that was one of the main challenges. Aside from that, the were pretty like minor ones. So yeah.
So what did you learn, Vikram, part of this project so far?
That there's a lot of ways you can actually utilize ChatGPT. Like instead of only using it to ask a bunch of questions and to do like some random stuff, you can actually make a whole program using ChatGPT to complete a certain task and to automate it. Just like, you know, resume building takes like half an hour, maybe more. And using a Python program, ChatGPT, you could complete that in like literally a minute, not even. So, yeah.
Wonderful, guys, wonderful. Thank you. This is like a Vikram and Malini work, Marine work for last couple of weeks. I would say majority last week. And you can see they have wonderful tool. And I thought it would be wonderful that you can see because many of you are also presenting ChatGPT and all, but you can see the power, right? You can create invoice, you can create like, you know, the living wills, you can create like medical reports, you can create resume, and you can automate it, right? The tool can give n numbers of benefits. So wonderful opportunity. This will be available very soon for all our students, where you just plug your information and your template will be ready. Your resume, the way you want, instantly will be ready. So we have our next phase that will be coming soon when we start our DevOps class, where we'll introduce Docker also. So thank you, Justin.